Hello, welcome to the Enlightened Times podcast. I've got a very special guest here today to talk about some of his paranormal experiences in his life, going right back to his childhood. So I'm going to hand it over to Stephen, the Truth Seeker, and he's going to tell us all about his experiences that he's experienced in his life. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm okay. And I'm really thankful that you reached out and got in touch with me to do this, because I think it's important for people to have a voice and be able to share their experiences and life stories, which is partly what this podcast is about. So I'm just going to let you begin, or if you want to tell us a background about yourself, whatever you're comfortable with sharing today, Steve, is,
Okay, yeah.
it's up to you. And don't want to press you into sharing anything you don't want to or you're uncomfortable with. So I'll just hand it over to you, Steve, and you begin where you feel you want to begin on this, and I'll hand
Yeah.
the floor over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mark. What it is really is thanks for the opportunity to share my experiences.
No problem.
What it is basically, I've had a lot of paranormal experiences during my life, and I'm originally from Liverpool, and I started when I was young. And one of the experiences I had is I was living in Toxteth, and it must have been about 6 or 7, and I went out for a family sort of day out at this it's like this like man-made lake, like a marina thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to just paddle in the water and stuff, and it's like sort of a fake beach area, and it was a place on the outskirts of Liverpool called Waterloo,
Yeah.
and basically as my sister, my nan, and my mum, and we used to go out for we used to have sandwiches and stuff. And then at some point, I decided I wanted a little paddle in this water area, and there was glass. I didn't know, but there was glass in the water you couldn't see. And I stood on the glass, and I cut my feet wide open. Both my feet were cut wide open, and my mum had to take me to the hut or whatever it was, like the outbuilding,
Mm-hmm.
and there was blood everywhere. And all I remember is one of the workmen putting my feet in a bowl of water, and that was it basically. I remember waking up in the hospital in the hallway, and what it was I was flying around in the hallway, and I looked down and seen my family, seen my nan, my mum, and my sister sitting in the hallway, and I could hear a lot of noise. And what it was someone was screaming, and what it turned out was I was in the other room, getting my feet sewn up by the nurses, screaming, but I could hear myself screaming. So
Wow.
yeah, so basically, I think I remember flying past above my family, and must have flew through the door, like, and went into the main area where they was sewing my feet up, and then went back into my body.
Right.
And then I remember one of the nurses getting fed up with me, having my feet screaming, and walking off, and then another nurse coming in. That's weird, mate. That's one of the first memories I had.
So actually out of body.
Yeah, it's astral projection. That's what it's called.
I was going to say astral projection.
Yeah, I didn't even know what astral projection was until a few years ago. Till I did more research.
Wow. So how old roughly were you when this happened?
Well, we moved. We still living in Liverpool at this point.
Yeah.
So in Toxteth. So I wasn't any more. We moved when I was 8, so I was like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe 7.
Right.
7 years old.
That's quite early then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just found that really strange, mate. That was one of my first memories. And then at this point, like my family decided to move out of Toxteth and move over the water to the Wirral, and it was much more a posher place. And it was because originally we were living in terraced houses in cobbled streets in Toxteth, but this was completely different. We moved over to a semi-rural area where there's fields and cows and stuff, into this semi-detached. So basically, we moved into this house, and I'll get into later why it was there, because it was a strange house, why it
Yeah.
was so strange. But one of my first memories of living it's a place called Mel's on the Wirral, and one of my first memories of there was going to this primary school there, and we're having a day out, and what it was we all the kids are on the coach going for a day out at school,
Yeah.
and we're going to. I didn't know where we were going or what was happening. All I knew it was a day out. It was great. So we're living in this much more posher area at this point. I'm a little bit older than 9 or 10, and we're going to going for a day out. All the kids and that, and then a school trip, and then we get to the stately manor type building. Let's get old building, and I think it's miles down the motorway, like in like Southern Wirral, like in Cheshire, really, Ellesmere Port area, or somewhere, or Port Sunlight, somewhere like miles away.
Yeah.
And it's just stately manor there, and we were walking in, and I soon realised there's this tall woman talking, and I've come to the conclusion of what she was describing. I think she was talking about ghosts. It was a ghost tour in
Right.
this like stately manor. Yeah,
Yeah.
on this day out, we're having with all the kids and the teachers, and so we all gather in this main big room area. You walk in the hallway, and then it leads to this main big old-fashioned like room, big massive room, and it's like old mantel pieces and stuff, and tables and chairs. And this ghost tour woman who worked in that building was describing this ghost, and what it was basically she's talking about this like old-fashioned Victorian type woman in like a corset type dress, and she goes around cleaning. She goes, this to like paraphrase, like she's saying, "Oh, this ghost does this and cleans around tables and chairs and mantelpieces and all this." And as this ghost tour woman is describing this old-fashioned woman, cleaner woman, ghost cleaner, I'm looking, and it's this woman weaving in and out of. She looked totally solid. There was this old-fashioned woman in like a corset type dress.
Yeah.
She's weaving in and out naturally, not like a see-through ghost, but naturally like a solid person. But she's weaving in and out of people and polishing the table and polishing the mantelpiece and cleaning, like a duster or something. And I'm watching this woman, and no one else can see her, but she stands out her mouth because everyone else is stood still listening to this tour lady explain all the different ghosts in the building.
Yeah.
And she, as she's describing this woman in the corset, this ghost woman in the corset, I'm watching it as it's happening.
Wow.
But I was the only one who could see that. None of the kids could see her, and none of the adults, the teachers, or anyone who was there could see her. And I'm watching her, and everyone else was standing there listening or whatever. And I'm watching this woman, and I'm standing. She's carrying on cleaning and stuff, and she's moving in like a natural way. She wasn't like see-through, and she's totally solid. And as people start leaving and go to different rooms, like there's the blue room and this room and this room, everyone's leaving. And I'm stood there on my own, Mark. I'm stood there. I'm 9 or 10 years old. I'm stood there transfixed by this woman, watching this weird ghost woman, because I started to realize this is the ghost. And I'm watching this. I'm watching this ghost woman, and everyone leaves the room, and then I'm stood there on my own, and then she turns around, looks at me, and smiles. So she interacted with me. She knew I was watching her. That's mad, isn't it?
So, I mean, that's amazing, that is. And she wasn't the usual apparition, or, this translucent looking figure. This would look like a real, as if the person's there.
She looked totally solid, mate. The only difference was she had old-fashioned clothes.
Right. Wow. So that's pretty...
Yeah. So she stared, she looked up.
Yeah.
She looked up at me, smiled, and I ran out the room.
Wow, yeah.
And
so she knew you was there then.
Yeah. And I caught up with the other kids and stuff, and said to one of the first kids I ever seen, "Who was that woman cleaning?" He goes, "What woman?"
So nobody else seen her?
No one else seen her, mate. They didn't acknowledge her. They didn't even blink an eyelid, mate. Nothing.
Yeah. That's really interesting. How she wasn't an apparition type ghost. It was like a fully, very human,
Yeah,
they're
and that's happened a
solid.
few times. Ghosts
Right,
of
okay.
You'd be surprised how many ghosts look solid, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I don't hear much of that, many ghosts like that. So that's,
there's probably more than you think. See, they
yeah,
look solid, so people think they're just normal people. They're not. They're ghosts.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
basically, at this point, mate, it wasn't like the following day or that night. I
yeah,
told my parents that I think I seen a ghost. It was like a week later. I waited a bit and
yeah,
thought about it, and
yes,
I decided to mention something. I think I told my dad. I was in the
right,
living room,
yeah,
and at this point, I told you we'd moved to a new house,
yes,
and
yes,
and I said to my dad, I said, I think I've seen a ghost, and he goes, there's no such thing as a ghost, Stephen. And I think this house
right.
that we lived in, it had like ghosts or spirits or something
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
living in the house. And I think the ghosts seen that and thought, we're going to show you.
yeah,
Because my dad said, there's no such things as ghosts. We're going to show you, mate. There are ghosts. So I got told this after we moved. 10 years later, we moved out of this house, but a lot happened before that. But I got told this once we moved out. But around the same time, I guess in 1982, it could have been 81. We moved in
yeah.
there 79, and we moved out of this house in 89. So we were there for 10 years.
Got
But I
you, yeah.
reckon around that time,
Hmm.
I told my dad about the ghost lady. Um, Something strange happened, and I think it was the ghost in our house,
Yeah,
sort of getting back. So what it was basically is there was this my mother was dreaming about an old-fashioned feather boa, and what it was strangling her in the middle of the night. She was dreaming, and
yeah,
at some point, she managed to wake my dad up. And what
right.
it was it was actually happening. It was real. There was a feather boa strangling my mother in their
Wow,
bedroom.
right, okay.
So my dad at some point. The dad got the feather boa out off my mother,
Yeah,
and it started flying around the room. The feather boa was flying around the room, right? And then
yeah,
it flew
yeah.
out the window. Right, my dad put the light on. It flew out the window, and the window was closed.
So it
That,
actually, so it actually went through the window, even though the paint and the window's closed, it's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
materialized through the window,
I know,
dematerialized.
I know it sounds bizarre, mate,
Yeah,
but that's what they told me after we moved out. And I'm thinking, around the same time I seen that ghost, and my dad said, there's no such things as ghosts. I'm thinking that was the ghost getting back at my dad and my mum. Maybe.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Now I can understand why you would
yeah.
connect that.
That's my theory on
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
that was their experience. They told me that after we moved out. Okay. I've got loads
Right,
of
got you.
experiences.
Yeah. So they
But
then have that experience. Just to ask quickly, did that change at any point of their perception? Because obviously your dad said to you, "There's no such thing as ghosts."
they still sort of, well, they didn't really talk about it, mate.
Oh,
They didn't
okay,
really talk
got you.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Just thought I'd
So,
ask that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. They weren't really, they sort of open mind to it. My mother was a little bit more, but didn't really talk about it.
got
So,
you.
I, um, I I got given a puppy dog called Sandy. And
Yeah.
do you ever remember the Poltergeist film, the first one, where the dog is barking up at the ceiling at the start of the film?
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I
Well,
do. Yeah.
my dog was doing that in that house, but it was
Right.
barking up. It was barking up. It was in the living room, and it was
Mm-hmm.
barking. You could see something, and it was
Yeah.
barking up at the alcove uh, in the corner, which would have been above would have been the parents' bedroom, and
Yeah.
mine next to it. So it was like that area. Well, the dog could definitely see something. She was barking up. This has happened in an evening, sometime.
Yeah.
Don't know what time,
Yeah.
but that was strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I think there was a portal in the house. There might have
Okay.
been more
Yeah.
in the house we moved in Mel's. I think there was more than one portal actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what it was, we used to go to bed at night, and we were still kids, me and my
Mm.
sister, and we're lying there, and we used to hear this heavy breathing. It's like right next to our ear. You used to lie there,
Yeah.
and the room's dark, and this heavy breathing used to come right next to your ear, and just breathe down your ear, come from nowhere. And
God,
I thought it
yeah,
was just me. Mark, I just thought it was me,
yeah,
mate. And
yeah.
I'm like 10, 12 years, well, not even 12, 10 years old or something, 11 years
Right,
old
right, yeah,
or younger. And I'm hearing this heavy breathing right next to my ear. And I thought it was just me hearing things. I didn't know what to make of it. I was just scared.
yeah,
That was what
yeah,
it was designed to do, mate.
yeah.
And then,
Naturally, yeah, yeah,
yeah. And I remember one night, my sister had bunk beds. She was in a separate room.
yeah.
And she had bunk beds, and she swore someone, she used to get the top, she used to sleep in the top bunk. And
Right,
she used to freak out and swore someone had got in the bottom bunk. And so she's freaking out. And
yeah, yeah.
she's shouting my dad up, and my dad comes up the stairs. And then I heard her say, I can hear this heavy breathing right next to my ear. So she could hear it in a different room.
Right, right. Got you. Yeah,
And
yeah.
she was younger than me.
Oh, right. Yeah. So
Yeah. So that's weird.
you're both hearing that then?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know she could hear it, but she could hear it and I could hear it, mate.
So that
And
must
we
have
had said,
validated a lot for you then. You hearing that and
yeah.
then finding out your
But
sister's hearing the same thing. Yeah.
well, then I said that night, as my dad's coming out of my sister's room, I said, I can hear that heavy breathing as well. And my dad said, shut up, Stephen. So my
Right.
dad must have known something was wrong with the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing I used to hear in those early years was
Yeah.
a weird, it's like straight out of a horror movie, right? A weird
Hmm.
whispering.
Oh, yeah.
Not all
Yeah.
the time, but
Mm.
it's like if I could just do it,
Yeah.
like multiple voices
Yeah.
whispering. But it
Yeah.
wasn't coming from one particular place. It permeated the whole house. So it
Right.
was coming up the stairs. It was on the landing. It was in your bedroom. It was coming from downstairs. It was downstairs. It was everywhere. And
Wow.
some nights you just
Yeah.
lie there and hear it. And what I think that was spirits
Yeah.
just talking, because the house was a portal. The house was
Mm.
a portal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I don't think there was anything evil about the house. Is what was there was what was let in and
Yeah.
what was
Yeah.
moving in and out or whatever. And I think later on I might talk about the loft. I
Oh,
think
right.
some of
Yeah.
the spirits were living in the loft.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So, I mean, this whispering. I mean, that'd be quite unnerving hearing that. Just
it
to
was
chat
very,
on yeah,
very
especially at
scary. As
your
a kid,
age. You know, at that
you've got
age.
this heavy breathing, you've got this whispering. It's freaking you out, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a kid, like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard
so
to
I opened up.
rationalise as a child as well, isn't it? You know what
Yeah, yeah.
that sort of stuff.
So that was just the starters of it
Mm.
all. To be honest with you, mate. And then
Yeah.
um, it's amazing, really. So
I mean,
at
yeah.
this
I mean, that is. So this is all happened. This is all, like you say, going
the
on as a
first couple of
child.
years we're there, the
Yeah.
first couple
Yeah.
of years we moved in, this is happening. And then another thing happened earlier on was there was a shed, and
Hmm.
it had these occult symbols and stuff drawn in
Oh,
chalk
right.
on the door of the shed.
Yeah.
It had, I
Wow.
think it was a five pointed star, but I can't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
if it was upside down or normal. But
Right.
it was definitely a 5 pointed star, not a 6 pointed one. And it
Got you.
had this. It was in chalk, in white chalk, and I think above it, it had this like weird sort of ghostly, scary spirit thing,
Yeah.
drawn in chalk as well. And it was, and the eyes were made red in
Right.
chalk
Okay.
on the shed door. And I
Right.
remember looking at that once as a kid,
Yeah.
and it looked into my soul, mate. It scared the living daylights out of me.
Wow. Yeah. So this is like, so you, obviously now did you connect that to the occult? Obviously, as a
Yeah,
child,
because
you didn't as a child, or was that later in life?
well, I can get onto that later, but I
Yeah.
did I did quite a bit of research in the 30s about all
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'll let you
I just
carry
say,
on in order. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So one thing I haven't mentioned was that the people who lived in that house before us were Mormons, And
Right.
if you get into what David Icke says about the Mormons when they're high up in the Mormon religion,
Yeah.
in the Mormon church, they're into the occult.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think things are definitely occult wise, that things were definitely happening before we moved in. If we could just
Right.
finish off with the shed, is I was in there just rooting around. I was bored one day, just as a teenage kid or whatever, and there was loads of stuff in there in the shed. When we moved in, there was stuff in there,
Yeah.
and then we had our stuff, our toys and stuff, and bikes that went. So the shed was full, right?
Yeah.
So there's the door of the cult symbol and a weird ghost thing on it, and then as you go there's all these weird jars that were there when we moved in the
Right.
sort of the bottom right corner of the shed. So I sort of I got interested in what are these jars. So I remember grabbing one, and it looked like white powder inside the jars, like jam jars, white
Right.
powder, but the
Yeah.
tops were sealed. And years later, when I was in my 30s, I did a bit of research into witchcraft and stuff. And what
Yeah.
I come to realise was the white powder was salt, and there were magic spells in the jars.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
man, and what it is, the salt protects the spell, and the spell's on parchment paper in the middle of the salt, and
Yeah.
then which is in a jar, and it's sealed at the top with wax
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
seal the
Yeah.
spell. But
Right.
I remember picking up one of these jars. There must have been 15, 20 or more. I remember picking one up with one of these and started taking the top off, turn it off,
Yeah.
and I felt a presence right behind me in that shed. I was right at the bottom of the shed. It was only a small shed, but near the end of the shed.
Yeah.
But I felt a really strong presence behind me, and something told me get out the shed. And
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is that what that was a sentinel or sentinels, like God, spirit guards
Yeah.
regarding the spells.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that was. The spells were protected, being protected. And I also come to the conclusion that maybe there was actual portal in the shed as well,
Yeah.
because I think there might have been a well there once, but I can't prove it.
Right. Okay. And
So the wells can be portals, can't they?
okay, I was just about to ask you the significance of the well. Yeah. You
Yeah,
explained it. So I didn't know
mirrors,
that about the
wells,
well, about being a portal.
and closets and cupboards.
Right.
They're
Right.
usually portals.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard
So all
about
this is
two
going.
mirrors facing each other being a portal, but I've not heard
Yeah,
about the well and things like that. So that's
yeah.
interesting.
So all this is going on. I found those jars,
Yeah.
and then I just left them because there was a presence right behind me, and I had to get out the shed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's bad. And then like what it's like. I used when I was young, I used to like as I described about the hospital flying around, the astral
Yeah.
projection,
Yeah.
astral flying. I used to do a lot of that when I was young. It was like natural. Well, what it was,
Right.
things were happening in the house to
Hmm.
make me do that, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah.
and it wasn't unnecessary that good, what the goings on in the house.
Yeah.
So I remember flying around the street. It must have been summertime because it
Right.
must have been about half past, maybe five, half five, something like that
Yeah.
in the morning. It was still daylight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember flying around the street. I was fully conscious at this point. So I was flying around the street because it's not like a
Right.
normal dream. Astral projection is not, astral flying is not like a normal dream.
No.
It's you're
No.
fully conscious. It's not like a hazy dream. So
No.
I remember
No.
flying around the street, going into my front door, and start to fly up the stairs to go back into my bedroom, to go back into my body. Um, and I'm halfway
Yeah.
up the stairs, and something caught my eye to the right on the landing, and there were these weird beings there.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, and what they were doing was they were levitating a couple of inches off the floor, off the carpet on the
Yeah.
landing. There
Yeah.
was at least three of them, and they had their eyes closed, and they
Right.
seemed to be meditating or something.
Yeah.
And but they were only about like 3 foot tall or 2 foot tall or something, 2.5 foot tall.
Right. So the
And
small looking bean type.
the
Yeah.
closest
Yeah.
description I can give you, right, is do you know? Have you ever watched the film Communion with Whitley Strieber?
Uh,
And the little blue doctors and that.
Right. No, I think I've only read the book, but carry on. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm sure
that's
listeners
they
will.
look similar to that. Not exactly the same, but similar.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't possibly chuck in a little bit of Yoda, but they didn't have pointy ears.
Right.
But
Okay.
they did.
Yeah.
There was something, and we were doing
Wow.
something, and I was in shock. I was in absolute shock, mate.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Right? I'm looking at these beings, right? And
Yeah.
I didn't want them to open their eyes and look straight at me because I was only a few feet away from them. It was only the landing banister between them and me,
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
a couple of feet, if that. And I didn't want them to open their eyes. You know, they say never look the demon in the eyes,
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard
sort
that.
of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were levitating and look down, and I seen me like 2-3 inches off the ground,
Hmm.
off the floor, off the landing floor, uh, like ever so slightly bobbing. And there's just also another thing. There was this weird sort of background sound, and
Right.
it was like a, you know, the noise
Yeah.
that people
Yeah.
meditating. It
Yeah.
wasn't that, but it was something similar to that,
Right. Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
Can't really remember now, but I know that it was making some kind of noise, and it seemed to be coming from a parent's bedroom. The noise,
Right.
and that's where I think the portal was between my bedroom and parents' bedroom, in their closet on the wall,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that there was that, and
Yeah.
then so I try. I'm sort of there, and I'm trying to take in as much. I knew it was important points. I knew I had to take in as much information as I could, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I was very scared. I was terrified. So I
I bet.
slowly. So I gave it a couple of minutes of that just to take in some information. I remember
Hmm.
looking down, right? I
Yeah.
started moving slowly up the rest of the stairs because I'm halfway up the stairs. I
Yeah.
remember looking down and seeing one of their feet that are levitating. And you look, thinking back now, it's the only real thing, because the memory's strange. You're remembering something that you remembered now because it's been
Yeah.
40 years or something, you know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah.
I remember looking down, seeing their feet, and I'm thinking back, it's the only real thing I really truly remember it in detail. And they remind me of, you know, a newborn baby's feet.
Yes. Yes.
That's the size they were, the feet. The heads
Right.
were bigger, but the
Yeah.
feet were, that's not the size of the feet. Anyway, at this point, I'm moving slowly up the stairs, and I didn't want to be attacked or whatever. I didn't want them to see me. They might have known I was there, but their eyes were closed, mate. So
Yeah.
I'm moving slowly up the stairs, and I gradually, at first I went to the bathroom because it was the closest place to go, and then, because I remember I'm fully conscious, but I'm astral flying.
Yeah.
So, and then it gradually worked my way into my bedroom because
Hmm.
my bedroom was next to the bathroom, and
Yeah.
then shot straight into my body and woke straight up straight away. I went like that, woke up straight away. When I
Right.
jumped straight into my body and went like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't my imagination, mate.
No.
And
No.
I laid there for about an hour and a half.
Right.
It must have been about 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
I finally got the courage to get up and check the landing. Nothing was there. No sound, nothing there. Couldn't see anything. But they were there.
Yeah.
On some
Yeah.
level, they were there.
And you was able to see them while using this
When
astral
I was astral,
projection. Yeah.
I was astral traveling. I could see
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Now, that
Wow.
is a scary thing for a kid to do. At that point, I was a
Yeah.
little bit older. I might have been 14 or 15. Can't
Right.
really.
Okay.
I'm still young. You know
It's
what I mean?
still young, and processing that is, it's not easy as a kid, is it?
Yeah.
Totally. Well.
But I can't remember
Yeah.
if they were wearing any sort of clothes.
Right.
It's really difficult. Your memory. See, you watch all these ghost movies and
Yeah.
alien abduction things on
Yeah.
the internet and all this sort of stuff, and your mind gets polluted with all this sort of stuff. It
Yeah.
gets mixed up. So your memory's strange, but I remember it happening. I remember they were beings, and I remember a little bit of detail about their feet.
Yeah.
But I do remember, I made a mental note of the main things where the eyes were closed, they were levitating, and there was that sound in the background as well.
Right.
So I took on
Right.
some information.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't just go away. I took on the information. You know what I mean? So there's that as well. And
Yeah.
then
I
I
was going
don't
to
know what
say
you
that
think about
sound
it.
can be unnerving sometimes, can't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like that.
Uh,
Yeah.
Mark, do you have any idea what they could have been?
I don't. I mean, it's interesting how you said it's like a meditation sound.
Yeah.
You know.
They were like a dark color, like a maybe a black or a grey or a dark green or like a dark or dark blue. They sort of they
Right.
weren't. There was no bright colours. There was just a dark colour. They had a
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
They had two eyes. A head. The eyes were closed, but they had eyes closed. But they had a head, arms, legs. They were humanoid. They're only
Yeah.
small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
I
don't know
mean,
what they
I know
were.
perhaps people would say about the greys and all that, but you
Yeah.
didn't feel it was anything to do with them, did you?
No, they were quite chunky, from what I can remember. They were
Got
quite
yeah,
chunky, but they only had small feet.
yeah,
They were
which is
quite
opposite
chunky.
to greys, yeah,
Yeah, they weren't skinny. They weren't skinny
yeah,
sort of thing. They were like reasonably built. You know what I mean?
yeah, and
So that's the
that's
best
fun.
description I can give you, mate. I
Yeah,
personally was scared. I think if it was any sort of light being or angelic sort of creature,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been put in that position. The
no,
reason I was
no,
astral
no.
traveling is because they were there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've left my body because I knew that something was wrong.
hmm, yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
why. That's
even
my theory.
interesting.
But I think they were demons personally.
Well, okay, so I was going to say, have you, what do you feel was, there was,
I think they were part of what's going on in the house.
yeah,
They might
yeah.
not. I might be wrong, but I don't know.
So you feel that this, just to clarify then, that this was more residual energies or residual beings to that house.
But I think they're real beings, real as us, just on a
Yeah,
different plane, mate.
got you, got you. But they
Yeah.
resided in that house. They didn't.
Oh yeah. They
Yeah,
were coming in
yeah,
and out though. I think some of them were coming in and out. Some of them were living there long term. I don't know, but
yeah,
I believe
yeah,
they're in a loft as well. Because at some point, I haven't even got this on my notes, but I'll mention it.
yeah,
I remember my dad going up there and to get something. I don't know if it was a Christmas tree or what it was
yeah.
in a loft, and he didn't really show, but I could tell something. He'd seen something or something had happened. He went up there and I held the ladder. And
Yeah.
I said to him at some point, "Can I come up?" He goes, No. And he came down quickly, sort of thing, but
All
nothing
right.
just to go on there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So you felt
another
something unnerved him, perhaps, your dad.
he's probably seen
Yeah,
something like that. Because
yeah,
years later, I asked my mother, and I was talking to my mother, and she said she used to have nightmares about these monsters living in a loft.
all
And
right.
I asked her, I said to her, "Did they have horns?" She goes, "Yeah."
Right, right.
So
All right, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
so
Oh
and
wow. So
another time we're all in the living room, right?
yeah,
This is in the evening. We're all in the living room, right? All four of us, mum, dad, me, and my sister,
yeah,
watching TV, and I don't know, it was what 9 o'clock at night or something like that. It was getting quite late, and all of a sudden we heard this massive thud coming from upstairs in the area where my dog originally used to bark at.
yeah.
That time she barked at that in the corner of the alcove at the ceiling. We heard this big thud. This was another time.
Yeah.
And we heard heavy footsteps in the parents' bedroom, right? And
Right.
then we all looked up, and I said to my dad, "Oh, that's the dog, isn't it?" And my dad turns around and points at the dog that's sleeping next to on the floor next to the couch.
Wow. All right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow.
we knew there was something upstairs
Yeah.
waiting for
Yeah.
us that night.
Dogs and animals are very sensitive to this type
Yeah,
of thing, aren't they? Yeah.
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 But I said it's the dog. It wasn't the dog
Yeah.
because the dog
Yeah.
was in the living room with us.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
all there,
Yeah.
all five of us, the dog included. So there was that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
strange. Like it's just heavy footsteps, like a big thud, as if something that jumped in, almost
Got you.
jumped, and
Yeah.
then heavy footsteps around the parents' bedroom. So
Right. That's
it's more of it.
unnerving. Yeah. Yeah. And you sat there as a family, and that's happened.
Yeah, this was in the
Yeah.
evening. My
Yeah.
dad made me go. By the way, my dad made me run up the stairs first, and the light switch wasn't working either.
All right. Send you in first. Yeah. Yeah. So how old have you been around that time,
Back
roughly?
then, about 14, 15.
Okay. But yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
There's a lot going on in this
that was in
house.
winter time. Now it was like autumn, winter because it was dark. It was like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
another time was a lot of strange stuff went on. It's like
Mhm.
we never really got orange squash, and it must have been a hot summer or something, hot summer's
Yeah.
day. And my mum finally got round to buying some orange squash, but it was
Yeah.
back in those days, it was in a glass bottle.
That's it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she'd done a shop, and then we're walking home from school, and then we get to the doorstep and of our house, and Mum gets the orange squash out and goes, shows it to me. Look, I've got you some orange squash. Keep going on about. And at that point, it seemed to almost fly out of her hands and smash right at the doorstep. There's orange squash all over the doorstep. And looking back, I think that was she did. My mother didn't say this, but I'm thinking a ghost or a spirit smacked it out of her hands, because something similar happened to me years later.
Right. Okay.
But these weird things happened all the time.
Yeah.
Half of it I can't remember, mate. You know, just these are things I've just remembered.
Because it sounds like there was a hell of a lot going on. So
yeah. Well, I'll wait till I'll tell you this one. Do you remember Strange But True TV ghost paranormal thing with Michael Aspel?
Yeah, I've got a lot of
this
those.
story links into that one, right? I woke up one night. I was in my bedroom. I'd gone to sleep, and I woke up one night, and it was in the middle of the night when I woke up, and I suddenly realised there was a weird red light that had lit up my bedroom. Right. And it wasn't moving. It wasn't moving the light. It was static, but it was like lit up like half the room or a third of the room or something.
Yeah.
But it was a weird light. I couldn't see where the source of the light was coming from. Yeah. But it was in my room. So I'm lying there trying to work out what's going on, Mark.
Yeah.
And it must have been like half an hour or longer it's gone on.
Yeah.
And I'm lying there. I'm thinking. I was getting a bit scared, to be honest, and I couldn't see anything in the room with me. I started to think there might be something in the room with me, but I couldn't see anything apart from this red light. But it was just a weird atmosphere as well. Yeah. And I thought, something could have been under the bed, but I can't remember what type of bed I had at that point.
Right.
So I don't know if it was the types that had like a gap or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, I decided, right, at some point after about nearly an hour of lying there, wondering what was going on, to make a run for the bedroom door to get out of there. Because it was just strange, this red light in the bedroom. And I did feel like there was either being watched or there was presence or something was wrong.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've had enough. I'm going to run to my door and see if I can get out. So I run to my door, bedroom door. This is in the middle of the night, mate. Run to my door, and there's no door handle. There mustn't have been a light switch. There was no door. It was just like bricks with wallpaper. I was basically sealed in my bedroom. There was no door, mate. There was no door handle. There was nothing.
Oh my God!
It's like a nightmare. It's like a horror film.
Yeah.
It's like a horror film, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. There's no door.
Yeah.
So I had no option but to just go back to bed. I'm lying there trying to figure out what's going on. I'm still worried about something being in my room, but I couldn't see it. And then at some point, I remember getting up and checking, looking out my bedroom window, and there's like this big, massive glare coming in.
Right.
That's all I could describe it. I couldn't really see anything out my bedroom. It was like a big, really powerful glare coming in. So I couldn't see out my window to check to see, to get my bearings and know what's going on.
Yeah.
So basically, I just went back to bed, mate. And I remember lying there for a good hour and a half before I fell asleep, right? And eventually fell asleep again.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I remember waking up the following morning, and everything was back to normal. But I remember when I woke up, and I'm just trying to figure out what went on the night before, and I think something in my mind said, don't forget what happened. Don't forget what happened last night. Don't forget what happened. Don't forget what happened. And for about a week to 10 days, I remember thinking like that, and I didn't forget. And then after that, I forgot for about 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched the program on Strange But True with Michael Aspel, and it's this girl living in this haunted house, right?
Right.
And she described exactly what happened to me, and I went, oh my God, that happened to me. That happened to me. I remember now. I'd forgotten it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because when all this stuff went on was in the 1980s, you see.
Yeah.
Well, Strange But True was like 95 to 97.
That's
so this was 10 years on. And I remember what that girl's. I know what people skeptics are going to say. They're going to say, "Oh, you're just nicking bits and pieces from TV and from the internet and this, and making it all up and throwing it all together." No, I'm not. No, this happened to me. I remember it, and I won't ever forget it. It happened. I've come to the conclusion, right? I spoke to someone last couple of years about this, and I come to the conclusion that I wasn't even in my bedroom. What it was a simulation. It was an abduction simulation. It was made to look like my bedroom, but it wasn't my bedroom.
Right, okay, that's interesting.
They'd taken me and deliberately done that to freak me out.
Yeah.
They'd taken me.
Wow.
I've come to the conclusion that was it's what I don't know if other people call it, but to me it's an abduction simulation. Simulating your surroundings. Because another weird thing about it, when I started waking up to stuff about 20 years ago, I remember watching something on the internet. I don't know, it was like maybe 15 years ago, but I remember it could have been YouTube. But and it's this guy describing his abduction, and he filmed it with a camera. And what he's saying was the aliens or whoever it was simulating his room.
Right.
My intuition sort of clicked onto that and thought that somehow that's making sense. You know what I mean? And I remember that video. Don't know who made it some years ago. And then I put that together with what someone else told me about like the simulation abduction thing. Thinking that's what it was.
Wow.
It's weird.
Yeah. That's I mean, to construct your, it's like you say, a simulation around you. Obviously, that makes more sense than just when you put it like
could
that
have been
with
like
other
an
cases
underground
as
base.
well.
It could have been in like an aircraft hangar. It could have been anywhere. It could have been God knows where it was, but it wasn't in my house. I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Kind of base or something.
It's interesting how you get these little things which can bring back these memories as well at certain times.
So, but another thing to it is I later found out years later there was an actual aircraft base at the back of it. It was like fields and fields where I lived. It was like a rural area. And it's like a big massive sports field. And after that, it was just fields and fields and fields, like cow fields and everything.
Right.
But somewhere there was originally a World War II. Well, that's what they said of World War II. But there was originally an aircraft base. I always wondered there was originally an aircraft base in that rural area, like the farmland or whatever. That's something I might want to talk about later on. But I believe there was a secret base there.
Okay.
So there was all that going on.
To that.
Yeah. So this is just crazy stuff, So
this is taking us up to just age-wise now. You'd have still been around about 14, 15.
I might have been a little bit older, but I can't really remember. I can't remember if it was 16 or older, but I was still like 15, 16, something like that. Something like that. So basically, we were away once and staying with family, and the neighbours reported the house making noises.
Right.
Well, I got told. I don't know who told me that, but someone told me that. It must have been my parents or something. The house, when we were away, the house was making noises, and that's what goes on in horror films, isn't it?
Yeah. That's interesting. Again, it's you're not there, are you? And it's the neighbours telling you that the house is making noises. So
that's mad.
It's almost, again, it says a lot, doesn't it?
It does, mate. Well, I don't know what it says, but another thing that used to happen, the power used to cut out most of the times at night. You'd wake up like 2 a.m. and your digital alarm clock was flashing back to north or whatever it was. So the power had gone. The power used to get cut out.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of that in abductions or whatever. Paranormal stuff.
I've heard about missing time and stuff, but not with the power outages. No, I've not heard of that before. But that's interesting.
Yeah, and there was no explanation. It was just, I
Yeah.
don't know what's gone on there. And
Yeah.
and, and,
Yeah.
and see, I think that there's a crossover. My own personal research, I believe there's a crossover
Yeah.
between the paranormal and alien abduction.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't think they're separate things. I think they're intertwined, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So it led you to doing, obviously,
yeah,
into
all
the
this
research.
years later led me to do a lot of research
Yeah. To try and
that
make sense and get a grasp of what
to
was
find out
going
what's
on.
going on.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened is I believe that the Mormons were
Yeah.
connected to some kind of cult or something. The
Yeah.
people who were in the house before us, and I believe our whole family were being watched, and I was being watched.
Right.
And I'll give you an example of this. Right,
Yeah.
it's, I didn't have a very good uh, sort of. I was an unhappy child, if you know. I
Yeah.
didn't do well in school. I was getting
Yeah.
into fights, and I
Yeah.
didn't do well at home. I just didn't get on with people. But I remember going on an errand from mother to do a bit of shopping or something, to buy something from the shops.
Yeah.
And what it was go up a hill and go and down the steps to the shops. And I used to have a bike. And I remember coming back out the shop, up the steps where the train station, because the trains used to run under the hill. And we used to have to go over the hill and back down to where we
Right.
live.
Yeah.
And I remember going back down the hill on my bike, and I felt something as if I was in danger from like a
Right.
car or something behind me. I
Yeah.
just felt exposed. I thought, just be careful or something. And
Yeah.
this car it must have been watching me from the car park where the shops were. This car came from nowhere. Right, as I was going down the hill, this car came from nowhere and cut me up before I could get to where I wanted to go to turn right, because it was a really busy road in the
Yeah.
rural area, and the cars just and there was a blind corner further up, so I had to
Yeah.
be careful. But this car, like it's like a big car, like a limousine type car, and
Right.
it came from nowhere and cut me up on my bike to the point where I had to brake really hard coming down the hill and come to a standstill before hitting the car,
Yeah.
and it blocked my path. You know, there's a gap. You should
Yeah.
leave a gap because I was riding on the road, but next to the curb. You know, you should leave a gap for cyclists.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it cut me. It cut. The the driver of the car cut me up where I couldn't do that. So I had to brake sharply, and
Yeah.
then literally lift my bike up onto the pavement and stop me from hitting the car and having an accident. And as I turn around and turn the bike around onto the pavement, and as I turn around, the car door swung open, right?
Yeah.
Just swung open like in the movies. And some
Right.
guy sitting there, nothing was said. Some guy was sitting in the back seat, right? And what it was an invitation to get in. And I didn't
Ah.
take that.
Right.
That's why kids go missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an invitation to get in because they were watching me, and I just did. I just walked around the back of the car and found a gap in the busy road and ran over to the side of the road where the pavement was and got on my bike and bombed it home.
Right. Oh,
But,
yeah. Thank God you
but that was
declined
an
that.
invitation
Yeah.
to get in. We
Yes.
all know what
Yeah.
happens after that, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These are
Oh,
the things
wow.
that were going on when I was a kid, mate.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell my parents. I've never told anyone about that. That's the first time I've ever mentioned that one.
Right. Thanks for
Never
sharing
told
that.
anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. It's like you say, how kids go missing. So
yeah,
that's like you say, that's like an invitation.
yeah.
Thank
That's all
God
they
you
did.
declined
The
it.
door swung
Yeah.
open as if it was an automatic door.
Yeah.
It's like a limousine type car, and there's a guy in the back, like a guy in his middle age or something
Mm.
in the back seat.
Right. It's interesting that you had the senses of you was feeling the vulnerability
Yeah,
before all this is, leading up to this.
yeah,
You having your senses were
yeah,
on high alert with that.
yeah. So there was all that, and then
Sensitive, yeah.
another time I was a little bit older. I just started YTS, and
Yeah.
I was probably
Yeah.
about 16 or 17. I think it was 16,
Yeah.
and I got the opportunity to go abroad, and
Right.
it's one of those Spanish islands, and it was a family holiday. So I decided to go, but I was a
Yeah.
bit worried about my dog. But the neighbour said they were going to look after the dog, they were going to walk it and feed it and
Yeah.
stuff because it was
Yeah.
the neighbour next door. So, but At some point during the holiday, I remember being very worried about my dog,
Right.
and then when we got back, the neighbour, the kid said, it's like the lad is like 12 or 15, I can't remember now. But
Yeah.
he used to feed my dog and take it for walks. He told me what happened. He said we heard something loud stepping down the steps, like dragging its. Well, didn't know what was going on, but they were hearing like thumping going downstairs. You know, like as if
Yeah.
someone's dragging the foot or something, or a loud stomping, like
Oh
but
yeah.
slowly,
Yeah.
like boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom downstairs. And
Yeah.
my dog was barking mad. Mad.
Wow.
They and they hearing this boom, boom, and finally got down to the bottom. They could because it was a semi-detached, so they could hear all the goings on,
Yeah.
and they could hear
Yeah.
my dog barking. And then it went quiet. They said, and he was going to run into the house because they had the key to,
Yeah. To
But,
check up.
but
Right.
his
Yeah.
mum stopped him from running in. She goes, "You're not going in there."
Wow.
So I don't
God.
know what happened to
Yeah.
my dog. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to my dog, but there was something there
Yeah. So
coming
then
from
again,
upstairs
the
down.
neighbors again, isn't it? That
Yeah.
it's like a separate witnesses to this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is no
Yeah.
bullshit, mate. This is the real stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was coming, but whatever it was, it came in from upstairs, probably in my parents' bedroom,
Yeah.
and come down. So that's why I'm saying there was at least one portal, and it was either it was probably my parents' bedroom,
Yeah.
or it could have been in the closet between my bedroom and their bedroom.
Got you. Got you.
That's my theory on that. But it's coming downstairs, so it seems to be an opening to let spirits in upstairs.
Yes. Yes.
So another time is this was around the same time, or I can't remember exactly, but I think probably in about 1987 this time.
Yeah.
And I remember I was working at this point. It was on the YTS, but it was in the autumn, and
Yeah.
I'd been playing. See, what it was we had a small garden,
Right.
and then there was like mesh railings, like thin mesh railings, like
Mhm.
metal railings, uh, that that was like a barrier between the sports field and our back gardens of all the houses in the road there,
Yeah.
and then the sports field, and then the cow, and then the farmland. I used to dig a hole in the mesh, make a little door, and go out and play the football in the field at the back of
Right.
the garden. But at some point, I'd hit the ball so hard against the metal mesh, it started to make its own hole, and it made this big, massive hole where you could just walk through. So basically, I was kicking a ball around in that area of the field next to like the bottom of a garden. This is
Yeah.
in autumn, and a few days later or a week later, this ring of mushrooms started to grow where it's really muddy where I'd been kicking a ball. There's like this ring of mushrooms, like
Yeah.
almost perfect ring.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting in my, because I used to quite often be in the house on my own because my parents worked and stuff. And
Yeah.
it was quite often I was in the house on my own. I was sitting there, and I was sitting in it was dark. It was one of
Yeah.
them really dark nights, a dark moon. You know when a new moon is, there's no
Yes.
actual moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pitch black. Well, at the back there where the fields where it used to get pitch black,
Right.
like sometimes. But that was one of them nights. Well, it was only lit up by the kitchen window, no backlit sort of thing.
Hmm.
But I was sitting in the living room and I got this thought form, right, to
Yeah.
go and find my dog. Where's your dog? Your dog's missing. So I looked around all the house for my dog, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't find my dog anywhere. Looked in all the places, decided she must be outside.
Right.
So I went out to the kitchen, opened the kitchen door, and I said, it's backlit from behind. As I'm walking into the garden, halfway down the garden, some of a little part of the field where the mushroom ring of mushrooms was backlit from the kitchen light.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of a sudden, I could see these shadows, these tall shadows,
Right.
dancing inside the ring of mushrooms, which is right next to, sort of at the end of my garden, where the metal mesh, right where there's a big hole in the metal
Yeah.
mesh at the
Yeah.
bottom of the garden that leads onto the sports field, where
Yeah.
the mushroom ring of mushroom was. There's all these weird, like dark shadows or silhouettes
Yeah.
dancing around. They were looked like shadows to me,
Right.
dancing around inside the ring of mushrooms, like mad dancing, like mad
God.
dancing, as if
Right.
they wanted me, as if they tricked me to come into the garden. Garden was only small. I was halfway down the garden. I thought,
Yeah.
stop. What's that? And I think, right, he wanted me. They wanted me. Just like multiple sorts of shadows dancing, like mad, crazy, waving their arms and just really mad stuff. But they were tall, dark, like shadows. And
Right. Right. Gee.
what I've come to realize is they wanted me to walk into the fairy ring,
Right. Got yeah. Yeah.
to take
Yeah.
me to do whatever. But this, so it's similar to when I was astral. At this point, I'm fully conscious. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
astral
Yeah.
projection.
Yeah.
I'm not having visions. I'm not doing nothing. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting in the living room. I looked out through the whole house for the dog. I
Yeah.
couldn't find my dog, so I thought she must have got outside. So I'm just halfway down the garden. I'm seeing these shadows.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what the hell is this? So it's similar to what happened with the beings on the landing.
Yes.
I thought, I don't want to hang around too long, right?
Hmm.
But I want to take in as much information as I can and then
Yeah.
get back in.
Yeah.
So I took on the information. The tall shadow, like almost lanky, sort of
Yeah.
skinny, sort of. I don't know what. It's difficult to describe, but they were just doing this, like
Yeah.
probably 6 foot or taller, dancing. So I thought, right, I've had enough of this. I'm going back inside. So I went back inside, right? I
Yeah.
didn't walk
Yeah.
into the fairy ring. I went back inside,
Hmm.
and then went straight back into the living room, right? And then sat down and checked behind the couch in the living room,
Yeah.
and the dog is there. Now I
Right.
swear I checked. I swear I checked behind the couch in the living room. It's one of the first places you look.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dog was
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
hiding behind a couch. She only used to do that if she had a bone to chew or if she was hiding. She was
Yeah.
hiding.
Yeah.
So just stuff going on here. You know what I
So,
mean?
so do you feel that, like you sort of alluded to a little bit, that was a way of enticing you down to that
Yeah.
fairy
Yeah.
ring with the
They, they
mushrooms?
wanted there's different theories about what happens if you do walk into a fairy ring. Some people
Right.
might say they'll take you. There's a theory because they were doing mad dancing. I've heard recently. I've heard what it
Yeah.
is they make you dance for days and then you die of exhaustion.
Oh, right. Okay.
But something very
Yeah.
weird and strange
Yeah.
is going on.
Yeah. I've
So
never heard of
people,
fairy rings before. So
yeah,
that's a new one on me with that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Well, this
interesting.
happened to me, mate. I'm not joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
one of my main stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So got
So you never went into this. So that they were trying to entice you in,
yeah,
essentially. What
yeah.
you
So
feel.
there's another one. How many
Yeah.
times has this happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
they wanted me for something. I
Mm.
believe my family and I was targeted,
Right.
right?
Okay.
I think there's people doing it and they're bringing up these spirits, they're summoning up these spirits or creating portals or whatever it is they're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
magic spells on me,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
So you feel that this is being done from
that
like
I was
actual
targeted
people?
as a child. I
Yeah.
was targeted as a child.
Yeah. This
So
is this is quite a targeted individuals.
yeah,
Becoming
I think
quite.
my story is quite rare actually.
Yeah, I was going to say
I'm not
yours is
saying
very
demon. I'm not
different.
saying the demons aren't rare. I don't. I think they're more common than people. You know, when you get these people who go into haunted houses and all that.
Yeah.
I think they're playing with fire, mate. I think
Yeah.
a lot of the houses do have demons, but
Yeah.
my overall story is a lot rarer. It's like more unusual because a lot
Yeah.
happened.
Yes.
So
Yes.
a lot happened to me when I was young.
Yeah. Yeah, as I was going to say, there's a lot going on, and
Yeah.
and it's
Well, I've got
led you
another
on to your
story.
research surrounding
Yeah.
a lot of these experiences and what you actually seeing, and picking up and observing.
Well, another time we had a family trip to London, and
Right.
we did the
Okay.
usual things. We went to a place where Trafalgar Square and all that, and
Yeah.
fed the
Yeah.
pigeons and all the rest of it. And
Mm,
then we went to Buckingham Palace, and I
right.
don't know if it was that day. We used to have a guard, like a little hut, like a
Yeah.
single hut guard, like a
Yeah.
guard in a hut outside the gates. I don't know if that, but that's what I remember. And
Yeah.
I made a comment. I made this like stupid childish comment or something um,
Right.
about the guard, and he sort of grunted or moved or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is related to what I'm going to tell you now, but
Yeah.
you know, you've heard stories about Buckingham Palace and the royal family, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. 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 I
But this
have.
was a palace guard, looked like a palace guard,
Yeah.
uh, and I was just making fun of him or something. I can't remember what I said. It was years ago. It was in the 80s. But
Right.
this was like 1987, roughly 86, maybe 86, maybe just
Yeah.
before I left school, not after. But I can't
Right.
remember the dates. But we just are doing sightseeing around London, and I met we were outside Buckingham Palace, and I made
Yeah.
that. I made fun of the guard, and I don't think he liked it. So anyway, further on in the day, like an hour later or 2 hours later, we're on this busy high street. I don't know where it was, but at some point there was a lot of people and busy cars and stuff. But it was in the centre of London, and we
Yeah.
were walking down a path, on the pavements, and there's people everywhere. And at some point, I don't know why, I decided to sort of go like behind my parents. I'm my sister,
Yeah.
and then a few minutes later, I started to notice people sort of around me,
Right.
walking close to me, and
Yeah.
they seemed to be forming like an arrow shape in front of me.
Yeah.
It could have been up to like 12 to 14. It was at least 8 to 10. And most of them were men, but there was a couple of women. And at this point, I tried to sort of walk past them or get out the sort of arrow or whatever it was. Like,
Yeah.
they couldn't make an arc or an arrow to
Hmm.
sort of block me in. But this was all happening as I'm walking down the street.
Yeah.
Weird. And at some point, at least made one attempt, maybe more, to sort of walk past them and get out this like arc. They were sort of closing in on me like
Yeah.
an arrow, and they blocked me off. And then at the same time, the dad shouted, "Stephen, hurry up! You're lagging behind." And I shouted back, "Well, I would catch up with you, but I'm being deliberately blocked in." And one of the women that were part of this group
Yeah.
sort of made a facial reaction. They sort of, I could tell that
Yeah.
she knew what was happening, sort of thing.
Right. Right.
And they were closing in. I thought something's going on here, and I thought I'm going to get out of this. I thought the only way I'm going to get out of it is double back and run across the really busy road when there's a gap in the traffic, and there wasn't any gaps in the traffic, and there's cars parked as well, and it was just really difficult to get out of the situation. But I thought next gap in the traffic, you're going to have to just walk backwards really quickly and just run arc over onto the road and then run really fast and catch up with your parents. So that's what I did. And I
Right.
just got out
Right.
of it because there was a gap that came in the traffic, and usually there wasn't any gaps. And strangely, the gap appeared, and thought, I'm going to go for it. So that was another
Yeah.
potential attempt to take me. But I was older then. I was like 15 or something.
Right. Right. So
The other
you.
one was when I was about 12 years
Yeah.
old or something. So there's all this going on, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 So
It's all mad stuff.
again, you feel that you're sensing that was another attempt to try and abduct you in some way, or
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if it was because I upset the palace guard, or
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
they planned it.
Yeah.
Because don't underestimate the within an hour or two they could set that up. They have that
Yeah.
type of ability to do that. Okay,
Mm,
don't underestimate them. Or they
yeah.
could have planned it. Why would they do that if I'm being watched? Why would you could do it anytime?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's because I upset the palace guard, but you don't want to be taken by them.
No. No. No.
But
Yeah, some dodgy
it was
things
real, mate.
around
It
there.
wasn't my imagination.
Yeah.
You could say,
No, I
okay,
get that.
even
Yeah.
if you said half of my stories I've already mentioned were fake, what about the other half?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not fake, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
So
But
another
again,
time,
it's your experiences and what you're like. You know, you've because like you've sort of alluded to, you've tried to make sense of a lot of these as well, haven't you? With what's going on, obviously,
yeah,
when you're young, it's difficult, you know, to process a lot of this. But
yeah. So another time, my
yeah,
father used to work down south in London because
yeah,
we're from Merseyside.
yeah,
And he made some friends down there, and some of the friends actually lived in other parts of the country, like Newcastle, Birmingham, and other places.
right, yeah,
And one of the friends, I think they're from Newcastle, but not 100%. They came to stay. I don't know if it was Christmas or not. Can't remember. But I remember them coming to stay, and they were only here one night, and they left at 3. Well, I woke up. I don't usually wouldn't usually wake up at like 5:30 or something in the morning. I just remember waking up. Something woke me up. Don't know if it
yeah,
was screaming or shouting, but I think it was because they were sleeping in my room, and I had the bottom bunk in my sister's room. So I remember waking up in like 5 in the morning or something, and getting up, going to the landing, and to go to the toilet, and they were checking on the landing. The boyfriend checked on the landing to say, "Oh, it's you, Steve." Weren't sure it was you, Stephen.
yeah,
Uh, I thought that's a bit strange. And as I'm doing that, I'm walking past my room. They're literally making the bed and putting their stuff back into the case and getting ready to leave, getting their stuff to
right,
leave.
right,
Yeah, this is like half
wow,
5 in the morning or something. And I thought, well, what's going on there? I'm thinking that woman was psychic. I
right,
can't prove this,
no, no,
but I'm thinking she picked up on something and seen stuff and thought, we're
yeah,
getting out of here. That was in the house in Mel's.
right,
That was
got you,
another strange one. And then there's another one where I used to think I used to have this, I used to play like a ball with the dog in the house.
yeah,
No one was around.
yeah,
I used to get bored,
yeah,
and I used to get the tennis ball and just kick it about in the hallway with the
yeah,
dog. And used to it's like I was like 15 or something, and I
yeah,
used to the inside of the front door is the goal, and then and what I used to do was I used to throw the tennis ball against the wall and then do a diving header. It wasn't like diving header. It wasn't like falling on the floor, but it was sort of half of a diving header. I remember doing that
yeah,
and doing it about 3 or 4 times. And then on the third or fourth time, I remember doing it. And because I used to leave myself enough room so I wouldn't sort of go flying into the door. I used to be good at that. So I used to have body intelligence where you could judge because I used to be quite good at football when I was young.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I used to be able to estimate how much space you've got to manoeuvre in close
right,
sort of
got you,
areas.
yeah,
So I wasn't stupid enough to end up sort of bumping into the front door
yeah,
or whatever it was. So, but I remember doing it for the third time, fourth time. So I chucked the ball against the wall and went to head it, and I went much further than I should have, as if I got lifted up and flew. And I got lifted up really high and flew. And
yeah,
in some old-fashioned front doors, there's like two separate window panes, like old-fashioned window panes,
oh yes, yes,
and some of them used to have like patterns as well,
yeah, I know the
like
one,
art.
yeah,
Well, my head, I came right down, and my head went straight through one of those panes.
all right,
As if I was thrown through, lifted, and then thrown, and it
right,
was thick
yeah,
glass.
yeah,
Right, my head was sticking
hmm,
right in the middle of a glass pane, like a narrow, tall glass pane, like an oblong with
yeah,
like a flower pattern at the top or something.
yeah,
But my head had gone right through, as if I'd been lifted and thrown, gone right through the glass on the front door on one of the panes because it was like a wooden door with
yeah,
double panes, and my head had gone right through and stuck and gone right through into the street. And so as soon as you compute it, within a second or two, computing that in my head, I'm
yeah,
thinking, I could die here. I could be decapitated because of the
decapitated,
glass
yeah,
above my head.
yeah,
I've never told anyone about this story.
Right.
What happened is, I'll tell you in a minute. But I thought I've got to be very careful. Right, I'm kneeling on the floor or whatever. I must have been kneeling,
Yeah.
or bending over or something, and my head's in the street, looking at the street.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, I've got to be very careful here. I could die. I've got to move my head back into the hallway very, very slowly and carefully, so they don't knock that glass, because that glass will cut my head off.
Yeah.
So don't you think that's weird, mate? That's wrong.
God, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
you have to be quite deliberate removing your head out of the.
Well, I got my head out of there, and then when my mum came, because the thing is, with our houses, the windows are always getting smashed.
Yeah.
The living room windows and the door, the windows are always getting smashed. So when my mum came, she said, "What happened to the door?" I just made an excuse up and said something.
Yeah.
So we were used to having the windows smashed because by footballs or whatever.
Got you. Yeah.
It's just mad. It's just crazy. That shouldn't have happened.
No.
It couldn't. No. People could say, "Well, you were acting like a dickhead," you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could have been an accident. It could have been, but I don't think it was. Because another thing that happened is when I was a teenager, about 14 or 15 or something, I remember going to bed normally in my bedroom, right? And then about half an hour later or whatever it was, waking up, and my head was the wrong end of the bed, as if I'd been lifted up, turned, and put back down. That's in the horror movies, mate.
Yeah.
That happened. That happened as well.
Wow. So you
I'm not making this up, mate. I swear down.
No, I believe
I don't tell.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell my parents about all this.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them about. They knew what something was going on.
Mm.
But
that, like you say, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Turned around and facing the wrong way. It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
You know, coupled with all these experiences you're having as well, on top of that.
Yeah, so
it's not like a couple of experiences. There's like an ongoing, a lot of experiences happening. Through your childhood into your early adulthood, adolescence and stuff.
There was a lot going on.
Do you feel, just to ask, do you feel that it picked up? Did it escalate more at any certain times, like around adolescence, or was it more childhood, or
But I know what you theory. You might say, well, it's coming from you. It's like poltergeist, but that's coming from your energy. Right, it's not because I believe it was deliberate. Portals were open before we moved in.
Yes,
and magic spells. There were magic spells in the shed that were done before we moved in.
Yeah.
Well, that's I believe that.
Yeah.
It's not coming from me. It's coming from an outside source.
Yeah.
It might be feeding off my energy and stuff, but it's not all me.
Yeah, that's sort of alluding to that.
I'm not saying some of it could have been me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But
yeah.
I was sort of alluding to that, with the intensity of, because they can feed off.
Yeah, well, I think I had a lot of energy, like a lot of spiritual energy when I was younger and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wasn't aware of any of all that back then.
Yeah, because it's almost like you're very sensitive, wasn't you, to energies and things as well, as a person, or the sound of it.
Yeah, I was. So another weird one was this time. I can tell you the actual date. It was just before I left school, and it was March 1987. I used to go to a football game, at Anfield.
Oh yeah.
I used to get the train. I used to get the train from the Wirral to over to Liverpool City Centre and get the bus up to Anfield, the number 26. Well, we're coming back. It was snowing that day. It was March, and I don't know. I forget my dates. I don't know if I've got my dates mixed up there, mate. But it would have been March '87.
Okay, March '87. Yeah. That's
so
good.
It was just before I left school in May '87. So it was just before. But it snowed that day.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I think we played Luton Town and we won 2-0. But they got the orange ball out, when it snows.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
I think Jan Molby scored the penalty. Can't remember who scored the other one.
right,
But
yeah,
we're coming back from the football anyway, and it's like I used to go meet up with like one other sort of mate who lived local
yeah,
down by my street. But for on this occasion, there was like 3 or 4 of us that lived in our street. It wasn't the usual thing. It's like used to meet up with other people who used to travel from the other parts of the country to meet up at
yeah,
the football game. But they used to say goodbye to them. And me and my mate used to go home. But at this point, there was like 3 or 4 of us because that usually didn't happen. But anyway, we're walking towards where we lived. We got off the train, there was snow everywhere.
mhm,
And we're walking not on our street, but like 2 streets further back. And I used to just notice things more than other people.
yeah,
And I used to take an interest in gardens and nature and stuff. So I used to sort of admire people's gardens and stuff. So
right,
as a matter of course,
yeah,
I used to just look at people's gardens when I'm walking home and stuff. And but because of the snow everywhere, it was like a novelty.
yeah,
So I'm just so close to where we live, we're not quite there. And then on this like row of houses, I looked to my right and something was weird. It was that house telling me, or the spirits in that house telling me, look, we're still here. It looked,
right,
I've seen, it was like a creature or something. It wasn't that tall, but it was like 4 foot tall or 5 foot, I don't know. It was like similar to the beings in Communion, the little blue doctors,
yeah,
something like that. But it
yeah,
was like more like a Yeti or a Sasquatch or something. But it was
right,
covered in snow and it was pretending to be a hedge or a tree, like a hedge or a bush or something. But it
yeah,
had snow on it. It's fucking weird. It had snow on it.
yeah,
It clearly wasn't a bush, right?
yeah,
You could almost make out its features, but you couldn't quite. It's weird. But it was in the garden and it looked out of place. But I noticed it straight away to my right, right? And one of my mates was walking in front of me, and I think 2 were behind.
right,
And I looked
right,
at it, took in the information, thought, that's weird. I don't know what it is. It's fucking weird. It's that house again. And then looked straight forward and thought, I don't want the others seeing that.
yeah,
Too late,
yeah,
mate. Someone behind ran past me
yeah,
and pointed it out to his mate. They'd see me looking, right? And
right,
pointed out his mate, and his mate's reaction went, "Oh, what's that?" So
right,
there was something in someone's garden. There was like a being
yeah,
pretending to be a bush hiding in someone's front garden as we were walking home. But it
right,
had snow on it, and it just looked wrong.
wow,
It's fucking weird, mate.
yeah, yeah,
That's the best I can
strange.
describe it for you. Is that mad?
Totally out of it, isn't it? It's like well weird. I mean, and other just to clarify, other people seeing it, another person.
Yeah, two other
Yeah,
people seeing it because
yeah,
one of the
yeah,
guys mates who were walking behind me, ran
yeah,
past me, and then pointed to the guy who was in front of me and went to the guy in front of me and pointed to the garden and said, look at that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the other guy looked up over and went, oh, what's that like? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it isn't me doing that; it's other people seeing it.
yeah, yeah. Sort
But
of
if I
just
hadn't
backs up
noticed that,
what
if I
you're.
hadn't looked over at it to begin with, no,
Yeah,
they would have walked past it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used to see things like that. But other people are seeing it as well. Do you understand?
That's interesting. That is that the others have seen it and clocked
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and observed
So,
that. Yeah. So
so,
that
so it's
validates
just,
some of the things you're seeing as well. I
yeah,
guess. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Wow.
I mean, this is a lot of what I wanted to talk about. Another strange one that happens, right? You know
Yeah.
what I was telling you about the orange squash, and it
Oh
seemed as
yes.
if something had
Yes.
smacked the glass bottle out of my mum's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was coming home from school. It's like it might have been the last year I was at school,
Yeah.
and so I was 15, 16,
Yeah.
and we were coming on the bus. We were on the top deck, and my mates, or I thought they were mates, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Someone was spitting out the window on top of me. My mates had got off the bus to go home,
Yeah.
and someone was spitting out the window. Some kid. I said, "Don't do that. They're my mates." And I put my hand. You know when you're gonna have a boxing match and you put your hands up.
Yeah.
I did that. He looked at me and I did that, but I had no intention of hitting him. I had no intention at all hitting him. It was just bravado. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
something moved my hand and punched him, but I didn't consciously do that. Punched him
Right,
in the
right.
face. Something moved my hand
Wow.
and jabbed him.
Oh,
And I
wow.
looked at my face and thought, what the fuck was that? I didn't say that. I thought that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to act it out as if I'd done it. You know, I didn't hit him
Wow.
again. It was just a one punch. So I went home and thought nothing of it. And then about half an hour later, I heard a knock on the door because at this point, like my parents work late and stuff, and
Yeah,
I was often in the house on my own, as I said. But I'm in the house on my own again. I heard a
yeah,
knock on the door. So open the door, and it's just this guy, like your dad's age. He goes, "Are you Stephen such and such?" I
yeah.
said, "Yeah." And his son was hiding behind the doorway, and he brought his son out, and it was that kid, and his eye had come out, his big black eye. I
All
thought,
right.
shit,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought, shit. And then I can't remember everything that happened, but at some point I tried to close the door on him, and I got the door closed, and then he kicked the door in. The
Right.
parents, the father, he
Yeah,
kicked the door in, so smashed the window again. And that window went in, and they kicked the door in, and then he chased me into the living room and got me in the corner. But this is all the stuff that's going on in the house.
right, right.
Well, I didn't punch the kid. I didn't consciously punch the kid.
No,
Something moved my arm to jab him. Is that mad?
something. Yeah, yeah. So something actually took over your arm,
Something
or
took
yeah,
over my arm, yeah, and
yeah.
jabbed him.
Wow.
And he came looking for me. The father
Yeah.
came looking for me. So this is the aggro I was having.
Mm. Yeah, that's strange. That is. Obviously, you never consciously hit him,
Yeah,
and something else sort of, you know, took control of your arm.
it did, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else like that where you feel like things have took out sort of over you and
Well, do you remember
took
I told you
control?
about the spirits or whatever it was put four forms on me? So it made me think to go and look for my dog. And I
Yes,
see
yeah,
that the shadows in the mushroom ring, whatever it was.
yeah,
Well, another time, another strange one was I used to have quite an interest in nature, and I used to be close to the beaches and stuff.
yeah.
And it was in this baths area. It's like an outdoor baths where the public used to go and swim. But
Right.
around the back there was a big wall with these rocks, and I used to often go looking for like stuff like crabs and stuff.
Yeah.
And we weren't even on the beach this day. I was with my sister and my mum, and I had this thought form. I was on a bus going past that area. I had this thought form to go and look because I'd seen it before, that area where the rocks were, and thought that would make a good place to like hunt for crabs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I had this thought form to go. It wasn't like a hot day or anything. It was like autumn or something. I had
yeah,
this thought form to go crabbing around the back of where the big massive wall was. It's really
right.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Like at the back of the baths where the massive wall was, where the tide comes in. It's like the sea's right next to the wall, big
yeah,
thick wall, and then you got the baths, where public baths. It was an outside one, but it was really dangerous to go. You don't go around there if the tide's coming in. But I
right.
had this thought form to go around there and go crabbing, lifting up rocks.
Yeah, yeah,
So even my mum was sort of saying, what are you doing? But I made an excuse to go off. And then I thought, well, I'm going to go and look at these, see if we can turn some stones over, because that's what it's like a metaphor. Because because of my research,
yeah, yeah,
um, and looking for stuff and searching. So because when I was younger, I used to put tufts of grass in the pavement, in the gaps in the pavement, looking for ants and stuff. It's just the way it was. Like I used to do those types of things.
yeah,
So
yes.
I started looking for these crabs at the back of this wall. It's very dangerous. And I didn't notice, but the tide was coming in as if something made me go there.
Right.
I didn't, tide was coming in, and I'm so transfixed. I'm looking, it's like I couldn't get out, like not brainwashed, but I couldn't get out of it. It wasn't even a trance, but it's just so focused on lifting
Right.
these rocks up and seeing what was under there and
Yeah,
just looking at the nature and stuff. Well, what happened was, um, I'm looking at these rocks and everything at the back of the sea wall, and the
yeah.
tide's coming in, and all of a sudden I hear my sister's voice, go, Stephen, what are you doing? And I look and see, the tide was coming right in. It was about to cut me off on this wall.
Yeah.
And if sister wasn't there, hadn't have been there, I would have got cut off. As if my sister was in a trance, as if she'd bit like made to sort of come to the edge of the sea, where the sea was, and look to the right where I was.
Right.
It's as if something. It's like I don't know, it was a spirit or something. I led her to the because this was in like October or something. No one goes on the beach in like November or October.
No.
But she walked right to the edge of the sea, which was to my right.
Yeah.
And look, and then, but it was as if her eyes were glazed, like she was in a trance, because she had some psychic experiences when she was young as well.
Right. Right.
And then she must have seen me and seen that the tide was coming behind me and shouted my name, and I managed to just hop, skip, and jump out of trouble. You know what I mean? Just in time.
Yeah.
So there's that one.
Wow.
So that's strange as well, isn't
it? Yeah. Another, like another weird experience, isn't it? So this, I mean, all this going on, I mean, that's a lot of experiences, that is.
Yeah. There's another one where, said the entities might have been living in a loft.
Yes, yeah.
Well, my dad was away on a working sorry, and the loft hatch. You can tell it's been moved.
Yeah.
But I looked up one day and I could see it being moved, and there's a little bit of stuff dangling as if something had opened the hatch and come down.
Right.
So,
wow.
And then another few days went by, or another day went by, and the hatch had been moved again. As if something had gone up or come down again.
Yeah.
And it happened about 3 or 4 times. And then I looked again, and the stuff that was dangling had gone. And the hatch had been moved and closed properly. So it'd been messed with like 2, 3, 4 times. Something had been moving up there. Right. It could have been a person. But I don't know.
But you said, I mean, seems like, did you feel the loft was a portal at all?
I think they were living in the loft, hiding there.
Okay.
Right. I don't think that was the portal. I think the portal was in upstairs in the bedroom, parents' bedroom. Right. Probably in the cupboard or the wardrobe.
So you feel like these, I'll call them entities then, if that's okay.
Well, I'd call them demons, mate.
Demons.
Let's be honest about it. Call them demons.
Yeah. So they were living in the loft then.
Yeah.
And residing up there. So
yeah, they were.
Oh God.
But the portal was still open for more to come in or leave.
Yeah.
I believe there could have been 3 portals, because when we moved in, there were mirrors. Mirrors could be portals, and there were like 2 or 3 mirrors when we moved in that were always there. So I don't know if they could have been.
Yeah, I've heard about the mirrors, mate. Yeah, especially if they're facing each other as well. Mirrors facing each other. I've heard that can be quite a portal for activity coming in and out.
Another thing that happened is I was in my bedroom once and I felt like I was being watched. And then I got up, sitting on my bed. I got up. This is in the daytime. I got up, and then I turned around, looked back at my bed where I was sitting, and something sat into the bed, an indentation. But I couldn't see anyone. But it was as if someone had sat down.
Right. Okay.
Yep. And that was that. And just before that, I felt like I was being watched.
Okay. Again, you're sensing something, aren't you? And then you've actually seen, like this, like I call it, a depression into the bed.
Yeah, that's what it was. As if someone had sat there, but there was no one there. Couldn't see anyone.
Right. Okay. Wow. That's a bit
Another time I fainted in the living room. I was watching the football.
Yeah.
And I put it on pause. It was Nottingham Forest versus someone, I can't remember. And it was a League Cup tie. And I put it on pause on the video. And then I fainted. And it's just as if I don't know what happened. I just fainted in the living room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know how long I was out for because the football was on pause, so I couldn't work out how long it was. It was probably for 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
just collapsed. Don't know what that was about.
Well, that's strange.
Yeah.
And was you just in the house then? Did you by
On my own
yourself?
again,
Yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
on my own again.
Yeah. Oh, it's a shame the telly was paused with the video because
Yeah,
you'd been out to, know how long you was out then, wouldn't you, roughly? I'd have thought. Yeah.
would have been able to work out.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
another one. This is a really good one. This right. There's I was still at school,
Yeah.
but it was like 15 or something, and it was this hill, and at the bottom of the hill there was like street. It was like a street, but right at the base of the hill there was semi-detached. I think it was
Yeah.
a semi-detached. It was an abandoned house. It was quite a big one. It was like one of them houses you don't look that big from the outside. When you go in, they're quite big.
Yes. Yeah.
So what it was, I was just hanging around with my mates,
Yeah.
and it's just like after school. So I was just following on with them. I was just following them. So I followed them into this abandoned house. We
Yeah.
went around the back of the house, um, and the back door was like hanging off its hinges or something. I used
Right.
to walk in, and it was like you walk into these like bay rooms, like big bay windows with like low windowsills that you can sit down on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just hanging around there. And the other two mates sort of went upstairs or hid in a loft, or they used to go and run off and hide or something. I don't know what they were doing. But I was in like the downstairs living room area. It's like the hallway.
Yeah.
Like you go in the back door that was wide open around the back where the garden was, and then you go into the hallway and then into I think it was two like living rooms at the front, but it was all like floorboards and just empty. So it's just because we were bored and something to do, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah. Yeah.
was sitting on this on this window, on like low windowsill,
Mhm.
and I don't know in which order. It was strange. I don't know. I can't remember exactly which order it happened, but I think this was the order it happened. Is I got up, sort of probably to leave or to walk out, and I walked out the main sort of living room area, and it was as if that room led onto the same room, onto the same room, onto the same room, but it wasn't like a row of rooms. It
Yeah.
was as if I can't really describe it, but it was as if I was in an infinite loop, or I don't know what it was. But it was like
Right.
one
Right.
led onto another room, but they were all the
Yeah.
same rooms. So I couldn't find the hallway to walk out to go out the back door to leave. I was
Wow.
thinking of leaving. I don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was trying to leave. I couldn't leave. But this wasn't in this house where we lived. This was an abandoned house around the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
But it was about
Yeah.
1986, 1987. And so I thought, what the hell's going on here? I want to leave. But I
Hmm.
can't because every room looks like the same. Like to the left of me, it just led on to another same room, to the same room, to the same room. So the first, so I basically decided to go back to the original room
Yeah.
that I was sitting in.
Hmm.
And I managed to do that and sit back on the windowsill. And this old guy came from nowhere. And he just walks in. He goes, "What are you doing in here? You're going to get in trouble. Get out of here." I thought,
Right.
I'm with
Right.
my mates. I'm with my mates. He goes, "Who's your mates?" I said, "They're upstairs." And he goes, "They're not your mates." And he was right, they weren't. But
Yeah.
he goes, "Get out. You're going to get in trouble." So um, basically, I got up. He walked out the room, that
Yeah.
old guy. I'm thinking he was a ghost, personally,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it wasn't just a guy that walked. See, what makes me think he was a ghost was the experience that happened before that.
Yeah.
Because the weird experience about the rooms is like I was in like a weird Twilight Zone thing.
Right.
Happened
Right.
before I seen him. That was it. That was the order it was. It happened before the route. Trying to leave the building, I couldn't leave the room. It wouldn't let me leave the building. I was
Right.
trying to leave the so I sat back down. He goes so he gave me a telling off, gave me a warning. I got up, right. The guy or the ghost or whatever it was,
Yeah.
just an old guy, like looked about 65. late middle age or something. And he just warned me, he said, get out, get out. So basically, I got up, walked out the room, and I was able to walk straight down the hallway and out the back door and round the front and gone onto the street. First time.
Wow.
There was no problems.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's mad. So I thought I had a feeling the police were coming. So I thought,
Okay.
I'm going to start. I wasn't running because I didn't want to attract attention, but I think the neighbours must have grassed us up. I
Right.
walked on down that street from the house on the corner by the hill. I walked
Yeah.
down to the bottom of the street because I wanted to eventually get to the train station, but it was like a mile away or more. But I walked down to the end of the street and thought, keep walking really fast into the next block. And then I seen this police car go woo, right past me with the sirens on. I thought, I know what that's for. That's for me. That's for me mates. In the house.
Yeah.
So when I got back into the school the following day, my mate said, "You lucky you left when you did, mate, because we just made it out just in time because the police came."
See.
Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, mate, with me is I was always one of them kids who got caught. Now, but I hadn't left when that old guy told me, I would have been the last out the house and I would have been seen. They never got seen because I don't know what happened with them. They must have made it up to the hill where there were loads of trees and shrubs and stuff.
Yeah.
Just in time. But if I'd been with them, I would have got caught and they would have got caught.
Yeah.
You understand?
So yeah. So like you say, if you hadn't been for that bloke and your senses as well, what you're sensing.
So I think he was a ghost, Mark.
Yeah.
Warning me. But he looks solid. He looks solid again.
Yeah.
So I think I've just got one more story to tell you.
Right, okay.
There might be one or two bits I've missed, but this is most of it.
Yeah.
But if I could just tell you one more story.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
go ahead.
A book. I'd forgotten all about this for the most part for years. And I even read it in a book and didn't connect it until whenever. But I was a bit old at this point. I don't know exactly how old I was. It was somewhere between 16 and 20.
Right.
Can't really remember exactly. You might have been a bit younger. Might be 16 or something. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that young because I was travelling on a train on my own. I was going from the Wirral to Liverpool.
Right.
And there's this train called Liverpool James Street. But before we got there, I was on a train. And we go, it's like a tunnel, it's like a mini sort of underground in the Liverpool trains. They have like an underground. And you're like London, but not as big as London, just like a mini sort of one.
Oh, got
like
you.
Loop. It's like a loop. But go from the Wirral and then you go under the tunnel in the train. And anyway, at this point, I'm in the train. And back in those days, like it must have been like late 80s or early 90s. Like 1990 or 89, 88, 87. The trains went, if it wasn't peak hour, the trains weren't that full. It was quite empty. There wasn't that many people around then. Got the train. So basically, I'm sitting there and I started to see, I wasn't facing forward, I was facing back, where the seats were. And it's like two sets of seats. I was in the corner, at the bottom, of one of the carriages, on the left-hand side, facing backwards.
Yeah.
And then there was another set of seats to my right where no one was there. Right. And there was like crisp packets or like chip paper or newspaper or something. It started like moving. And I had the corner of my eye. Something really wasn't making me want to look as well. I don't know if it was me subconscious or whatever.
Right.
But it's like litter or like chip paper or crisp paper. Like started doing like moving like into a spiral or something. As if something was manifesting. From the corner of my eye, I swear something like sort of came from nowhere, like a person.
Right.
But I didn't want to look at it for some reason. Anyway, at some point it got up. Train came to a station. It was James Street Station.
Yeah.
It got up and then walked before the train stopped, it got up and walked to the nearest sort of exit, the dust-like doors.
Yeah.
And then the train came to, at this point, I turned around and looked up. I seen like a guy like a sergeant major guy in like an army uniform.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say anything, but there were other people on that carriage. They were probably looking as well. further down the carriage. But this guy, it came from where I was sitting, and at the point where it started, like the letter started to swirl.
Yeah.
I felt strange, as if something was like feeding off my energy to
Right.
like
Okay.
manifest. That's the
Yeah.
best way to describe. Looking back, that's the best. With all the research I've done, that's
Yeah.
how I would describe it. But
Yeah.
back then, I remember feeling strange. I can't actually remember the feeling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, your memory's strange, but I
Yeah.
remember it was strange. But I can't actually remember what feeling it was. But something
Yeah.
was trying to, with the research I've done, something was manifesting.
Right.
Ghost was
Right.
manifesting. But there again, he looked, once he manifested, he looked solid. He looked like an army sergeant major,
Wow.
like an old fashioned sergeant major. I think he had the mustache. I can't
Yeah.
remember 100% if he had a mustache. I can't remember, I just remember the overall sort of thing. He
Yeah.
was like a normal person, apart from the clothes he was wearing, he was solid. You know, there's nothing,
Wow.
that's what he was. He was a solid person. So we got off, and there was shouting, but because
Yeah.
your memory sort of fades and mixes.
Yes.
I do remember shouting, but I don't know if that was with, you see, the ghost or whatever it was got off and walked to the left, and it was shouting, and what he was doing like armies. You know when a sergeant major shouts,
Oh
all that
yeah.
caper.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what that noise was. But I do I remember that or not? It's just memory's weird. But
Yeah.
I remember, like years later, I started buying ghost books, and
Yes.
there's a local author from Merseyside called Tom Slemon, right?
Right. Okay.
And that is in his books. But in his books, he says it, it was the train driver. It's either the train driver or the train, whoever was in charge of the train or was working on. There's two people, isn't there? Usually they work on a train.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The train, so the guy who checks the doors, I don't know if that's the train driver
Yeah.
or someone else. But one of those people, right, seeing the sergeant, that sergeant major ghost, got get off the train and walk down to the left on James Street Station and walk into, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's going left, right, whatever it is you're going on about,
Yeah.
and then and all the rest of it, and walk straight into the end at the end of the the platform where
Yes.
the wall is.
Yeah.
Watch them walk into the wall, through the wall, and gone. And
And
I didn't see that
disappeared.
part, but I read
No.
that in the book.
Right.
But
Okay.
that was my experience. That was the same ghost, I think.
Wow. So you, I mean, there, I mean, the synchronicity again of you
Yeah,
finding that out, that information in that book
yeah. That was years
as
later.
well.
I collected
Yeah.
all those books, but it didn't really click with me, that one, until
Yeah.
sort of years later. I thought that was like a separate something. I don't know why I didn't think that was me. That was weird that day because I didn't really want to look at the ghost.
Yeah.
Something was making me not look at the ghost, as if I don't know, I was scared or what it was. It's just
Wow.
it was manifesting next to me, like a couple of chairs across.
Yeah.
The seats on the train.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Oh, wow.
manifested next to me, but it was only the row of chairs, no facing backwards, like not facing
Yeah.
forwards.
I know
But
what.
that's the
Yeah.
best detail I can give you, mate.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think that's strange?
Oh,
But it was in his book.
yeah.
I read it in his book and I really didn't think match it up with my experience, but that was my experience. That's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been the same thing.
And who was that author again? So just
Thomas
in case
Lemon.
any. Okay. I've never
Thomas
heard
Lemon.
of him. Yeah. Never heard of him. But,
He
that's
does
interesting.
Haunted Liverpool and Haunted Will and Haunted Cheshire.
Right. Okay. So he,
That's a big series of books. He's
yeah.
done books on vampires and all kinds.
Oh, fascinating then. Fascinating author. Then he's covers quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that covers a lot of what I wanted to talk about today.
Well,
But I mean,
thanks for reaching out and sharing
yeah,
and coming on and discussing, well, talking about this stuff because there's a lot of stigma surrounding doing things like this, isn't there? Talking about this sort of stuff. I think it's
yeah,
lifted a lot though over the years compared to
yeah.
many years ago. But there's still a little bit of stigma of people
I don't care,
discussing these
mate.
topics. Yeah,
But
I mean,
there's more information. I've got more information for you. That would probably be for a part 2 series or something.
yeah, yeah, it'd be good to do a part two and let the listeners, really, get drill down into some of the, some of the other stuff that's been going on, and I mean, where to let where this has all led, because I know, like you say, you've ended up doing your own research, and life has a strange way of taking us off in different directions, doesn't it, through our
Yeah,
experiences?
but it was important for me to get what was going on in that house. I know
Yeah,
you're gonna say. I know people are gonna say, "Well, but it is you, mate, because you're seeing things that aren't even in the house." Well,
yeah,
maybe I've got a psychic ability or something, or a strong intuition or something.
yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
it's just the
it
point
sounds
is,
like you're so sensitive as well,
yeah.
sensitive to
But
things, wasn't you?
it's an important message for me to get this across because stuff was going on in that house, and I think
Yeah,
it was deliberately targeting my family, me and my family.
right,
It wasn't
right.
just random. It's not
Yeah,
random.
yeah. Because that's interesting how you feel that it was
Yeah.
actually done to target the family. Really,
See,
that's
I think there was a secret base in the fields at the back of that house, and I think they were camouflaging it using holographic technology.
right. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because yeah,
Wow. Which is coming out even more now, isn't it? About that type of technology now. Obviously,
yeah.
back then when you was living in the house, it wasn't as well known. But so you feel that that was being done, orchestrated by people. When I mean people, I'm
Say
talking like
like
people on.
Satanists or Luciferians doing it.
Right. Okay. Got you.
So targeting me to sort of ruin my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you
Another
mean.
experience I had was a psychic flying again. This is a little bit vaguer, but not that vague because I still
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
Is there was like a stately manor type, but like more modern sort of thing.
Yeah.
Building at the far end of where all those fields were,
Yeah.
and it's like all fenced off, and it's like CCTV and
Yeah.
everything. You couldn't even see through the fence, the gaps in the fence.
Yeah.
It was like on a country lane, and that was in the 1980s. It's like a big like mansion thing. And I think it
Right.
might have had something to do with that. The people who lived there, but I don't know. But I
Yeah.
remember what I remember astral projecting again, astral flying.
Yeah.
I was and then I was flying around the fields, and in the corner of the sports field at the back, there's all these beings gathered together, all these weird sort of spirits.
Yeah.
And I remember flying over the top of them. I had a,
Right.
and it hurt to fly over the top of them. It's painful to fly because they were
Right.
that evil. They were coming to our house.
Yeah.
They were coming
Yeah.
to our house, and I feel that I've been coming either from the base or that mansion.
Right. Right.
I'm not
Okay.
sure, but something, some connection with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And I know I'm
sounds like
sort of,
painful.
I'm in the realms of almost making things up. It's my own theory, but it is
Yeah.
my own theory,
Yeah.
and I'm entitled to it.
Of course. Yeah.
But that house had portals opened in it, Mark. I'm not
Yeah.
joking around. It had portals open. It had at least one portal, and it should target me in my life. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I can say on it at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's it. I mean, some of these experiences are really, they're quite, I mean, especially for a child, they're quite
Yeah,
terrifying,
yeah.
really.
Well, that happened when I was like from like 10 to 15 to 16, and
Yeah.
even to 20. That was the first part of my life. Like a lot happened,
Wow.
but I never talked about it. Oh, they ever mentioned any of it. To be honest with you.
Well, it is difficult to talk about. I mean, it's finding the right,
I
how can I
mean,
put this,
what was that
right
heavy
people
breathing?
sometimes.
What was that
Yeah.
heavy breathing that I used to
Yeah.
have? I used to hear when I was about 10 years old. I used to hear heavy breathing right next to
Yeah.
my ear when I was in bed, lying in bed. And what's all that about?
That's
That's not normal.
unnerving, that is. That would have really
Yeah,
unnerved me,
yeah.
having something like that around.
I didn't imagine it because my sister heard it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
She had
This
the
is the
same
thing.
thing. Yeah,
This is the thing. Some of these experiences, what you mentioned today, like they've been sort of verified. I mean, you know, like with the neighbours as well, and
Yeah.
like you say, with your sister, and then you know, then when you was at the football with them people, they saw that.
That, I don't know if that was like a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot type creature. I don't know what
Yeah,
that was, but I've seen something recently about a year ago on
yeah,
the internet, and it looked exactly what it was like. It was in North America or Canada or somewhere,
yeah,
and it was out in the sticks, and it was on YouTube or something, and
yeah,
it looked exactly like what I'd seen in a person's garden. It's like a beam with snow on it,
yeah.
hiding in the bushes.
Yes, yes.
That was on a YouTube video though, but I
Right.
seen that. I thought that's what I seen. I seen that, but it was like a small Bigfoot thing. So
Well,
that's it really for now.
well, thanks, Steve. You know, coming on the show and opening up about some of these experiences. They're absolutely fascinating.
That's all right, mate.